But what I am saying is that you're going to start seeing fewer interns, you're going to start seeing fewer amount of analyst return offers, and there's just no need for having a whole bunch of analysts too who can do the tasks.
Companies that always succeeded on removing friction, I really wonder how they're going to persist in a world where these AI agents are just going to cut you in on price, and now your margins compress. And it's like, where does the profitability come from there? In all transparency, I'm nervous, bro. Like, I really am. Like, I'm just like, can I please just get through senior year and get full-time to whatever job so I can just get in and have a seat?
AI cannot replace that just machine without man, due to the fact that you're allocating large amounts of capital, and that requires risk, and that requires analyzing return as well, which requires human, because then who is responsible for the mistake?
Welcome in everyone to MBA Unplugged. My name is Charles Winfrey III.
And my name is Liam Wong.
And today we're going to have a very important video in which recently there was an article that was put out by Century Research on Substack. And the name of the article was the 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis. And this article was put out last week and it kind of spooked the market a little bit. So we really want to talk about where the market stands today and really emphasize to you all and more discover amongst ourselves how this current state we're in is such a large inflection point into the market, the broader economy, even impacting jobs and maybe just our future employment. So that's kind of where we want to start today. So Liam, I know we kind of just talked about how AI is such a buzzword, but artificial intelligence is going to displace or potentially displace a lot of people. What are your thoughts on some of the potential sectors that could get displaced first?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some of the most things that are actually going to be displaced here. And it's not that we're displacing people, we're displacing tasks. And so a lot of these companies now are trying to do margin compression and just lay off people so that all these tasks can now be automated by agentic AI, which is essentially AI agents that can perform tasks that you don't need to be physically present for. And so, for example, when you're looking at Excel work, Claude is now integrated into Excel, right? And now you're having these white collar jobs that basically analysts that usually take 8 to 12 hours to perform at can now be done by agentic AIs within 4 to 6 with no man actually controlling them. And so the first sector that I think is really going to be hit is going to be those white collar analyst jobs.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you started there because I disagree in a way. So in the article by Century Research, again, the name's 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis. Highly advise you check it out. He talks about how, what you talked about, AI is going to, first step is workers are being laid off. We see that now. Plethora of companies, Amazon, UPS, Block, recently Jack Dorsey's company. What does that do in terms of the company's profitability? Increases margins. Correct. So now we have this cycle of AI productivity, workers are laid off, margins increase. Mm-hmm. Okay. But what happens to once that's stalled out eventually? And realistically, like you said, we're not at a point yet where agentic AI agents, to level set, agentic agents is where an AI large language model or some type of plugin can take over your computer and run these tasks for you without your physical really just your physical presence over that model. So they can do these tasks for you by yourself. I don't know if we're there yet for white collar jobs. I say that because to your point, you mentioned task jobs will get replaced. Yes, most white collar jobs, I don't think it's just tasks being done that need to be automated. You could make a point for it being done quicker, but I still think it's a man plus machine formula that equates to productivity over time.
Now, see, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think that you're absolutely right. Like an analyst job, like you take anything like investment banking or private equity, and you're looking at the type of roles that they perform, and it's often due diligence, and it's often putting together PowerPoint slides. And that man plus machine is necessary. Yeah. But I think the point where I'm really trying to make is that you're going to see massive reduction in those. I'm not saying that you won't have an analyst level and it'll be straight to like associate. But what I am saying is that you're going to start seeing fewer interns. You're going to start seeing fewer amount of analyst return offers. And there's just no need for having a whole bunch of analysts too who can do the tasks. So I'm going to take a step back there. There's no need to have 2 analysts when they could be done by 1 with machine.
Yeah.
That's double payroll.
No, I understand. And I think it's a valid point. I don't think we can contextualize that only to white collar jobs. Like that's going to happen. Yeah. widespread across the economy. But at the same time, the way there's going to be reduction, the increase in just the products and what businesses will be created, there will just be so much more creation. I feel like the same way you can attribute the loss and the reduction in terms of becoming more efficient using these tools, who knows if a person who gets laid off goes on and starts his own interior design AI company. And that's a whole nother TAM, total addressable market, that expands. So it's like, we could go back and forth on this all day, but I feel like so often we get so pessimistic on how much AI is going to displace so much, and rightfully so, it will displace in some parts of the economy. But at the same time, I do not think we are acknowledging, and I don't know, I could be wrong. Who knows? I don't know anything. I don't know that much. But it's like, at the same time, the new ideas, the new businesses, the new just really jobs that will be created through this, I don't know if it's a net positive or net negative, but I think we also have to account for the new creations outside of this displacement.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And again, these conversations are really beneficial because you're seeing two sides to a coin. And for me personally, like, I think you're completely right about creation. Like, that is something that's absolutely going to happen. You're going to see people who have been having a large barrier to entry for entrepreneurship through technical coding skills, who are now saying, okay, I can now do this and be able to create something off on their own, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, people who are not as creative, people who are not going to be willing to take that next step to be an entrepreneur are going to be greatly damaged because those just want a steady income, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the truth. And I think we can relate this to the public markets. So like, ever since most people are familiar with Anthropic. Anthropic's LLM, large language model, is Claude. Claude recently, I think it was in February, they came out with some type of legal plugin. And essentially what that was, it took a lot of legal companies who provide those services completely tanked, because these companies historically have been providing the service that caused a lot of friction from a consumer's perspective. And it was almost like a gatekeep. I know what I'm providing. You don't know it. All you know is that you had to pay for my service. Well, Claude is debunking that now. And it's not only debunking it for the legal service, but instead of paying $1,000 for that legal's company or whatever they may be providing that service, you can now pay $20 for Claude's plugin trade-off. I mean, I'm taking the $20 version over the $1,000 most times of the day. But I think it presents a larger point that a lot of these software companies are now who's really their moat and what they've succeeded on was that we eliminate the friction from a consumer's point of view. I think that's going to start being eliminated. And I think it's bigger than just, let's say, the legal sector for this example.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're completely right. That entire middleman type of friction, it's being eliminated completely, right? Like, every single business that requires you saying, hey, this is difficult for me. Now I want to do something. Now I want to achieve this. Who do I go to? AI is essentially saying, okay, we can do this. You don't need this company. And it's all in one place. Yeah. Right. So that entire multiple industries will be affected.
And I think another one as well, there was another plugin that came out, these different little AI add-ons. There was something around like tax planning and almost like wealth management services. Like companies like Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, these companies were trading down 5+% because this one company came out with these services. Again, to Liam's point, the middleman, they were always that middleman for these services, but companies that always succeeded on removing friction, I really wonder how they're going to persist in a world where these AI agents are just going to cut you in on price, and now your margins compress. And it's like, where does profitability come from there? So it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out.
No, absolutely. And then now when we're talking about the usefulness of AI, just like in the future, kind of separating it from not just markets, but also incorporating young professionals and undergraduates, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing a democratization of just information in general. Like we had Google, sure, but now you literally have something like an actual professional mentor or coach in your specialized industry that are able to give you like a step-by-step playbook on how to become really, really good at this one skill.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, Charles, what do you think is going to be the one industry that you see a lot of undergraduate and professionals start gravitating towards now that they have access to AI and access to technology like this?
Yeah. Before I kind of just give my 2 cents. I think it's something I've been, in all transparency, it's something I'm very concerned of. Like every firm I go visit, every professional I talk to, like my first question I ask is literally, how do you use AI in your day-to-day? Like, do you potentially see it displacing you? And majority of the answers, well, all the answers thus far, I don't have a large enough sample size to say this is the truth, but all of it have been no.
Yep.
It's not displacing me. It is simply a man plus machine equals outcome equation, not just machine equals outcome. And I say that because it's easy for them. They're already in their positions. They're established in their careers. They have the education. We're not even seniors yet. We're not going to the workforce next year. We got another year at school. Who knows how fast? I mean, I forgot the law, but computing power just doubles every year or something like that. But who knows where it'll be when it comes to our employment? So in all transparency, I'm nervous, bro. Like, I really am. Like, I'm just like, can I please just get through senior year and get full-time to whatever job so I can just get in and have a seat?
You gotta get the email with your return, and then I'll breathe.
That's why because seriously, people's jobs are getting eliminated. And it's like, especially something that we worked so hard for up until this point as a finance major. I feel like, I don't go into the finance industry. It's like,
What was the point?
In a way, it was one of the points. So I don't know if that really answer your question, but I think in all transparency, like that's required. It's just to level set, like it ain't got it all figured out. And I think one more thing, I think as finance majors or people who are aspiring to go into high finance, we kind of have people say we have our careers planned out. Like you just continue to go up the corporate ladder. It's a lot of safety. That safety is, it's getting churned out every day now. So, I mean, in all transparency, man, I just want to get to the workforce, bro. Just to
exactly. Because like, I think right now my major concern right now is just getting to associate. Like analyst is great, but analyst is due diligence work. And associate is when you start putting your own thoughts into things. I think that's when you can start getting a little bit of a sigh of relief from AI, right?
Yeah.
So I used to
explain that for people who are not finance.
So like analyst, you're doing a lot of due diligence work. Basically just means like you're doing background research, right? Like you're giving all of the financials, like you're doing a lot of the, I don't want to say grunt work, but you're essentially just doing a lot of the work that can be done by AI, to put it very, very blunt.
To an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. And then associate, it's that you're now providing your thesis and now you're providing your thoughts to the people slightly higher above you. And so AI cannot replace that just machine without man, due to the fact that you're allocating large amounts of capital, and that requires risk and that requires analyzing return as well, which requires human, because then who is responsible for the mistake?
Yeah.
Right? You have to hold somebody accountable. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I feel like when you get to the associate level, you can start to take a deep breath. But coming back to like the nervousness and everything, I used to ask the same question, but it was a year ago before like, Claude and like everything else. And they would give the same, like even the people at the head of AI at some of the top investment banking firms, they were like, yeah, there's no worry about it. Like it's just a tool. Right? But he's the head of AI at this point. Like you can't like...
Right. It's not apples to apples.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like he's coming from this higher point of safety as a safety net. At the end of the day, we don't have one yet, or we haven't established ourselves yet to provide one for ourselves. Yeah. So I think it's a very, very interesting and very nuanced. It would continue to evolve over time. But I really don't like, people are like, you got to embrace the technology. You got to be accepting to what's changing. I hear that, but you also grown too. You got a job. Like, this is our livelihood.
House, wife, and kids.
Right. Like, you're good. This is our livelihood.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's very interesting.
But let me ask you a question real quickly. Okay. So what do you think is going to differentiate the people now who are coming to analyst class? So taking like a more optimistic view, how do you differentiate yourself with the addition that AI can automate most of the work that you're about to be doing?
I'm going to contradict myself, but it is being more familiar with these technologies. Like, I mean, that's very contradictory, but it's the truth. Like, there are so many of these tools, these little agentic agents that we are not aware of yet that can vastly reduce the amount of time it takes to do miscellaneous tasks we do every day. And I think it's just becoming familiar with those will set you apart, because a lot of people, they just use Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT, and they think that's all AI.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that. And I think personally, I'm still trying to get involved. Quick shout out. Claude has a free course like on their website that you can take like free like little courses to get the certificates, like to be like AI certified in a way.
Wow.
It's like 3 courses. I think they're an hour long. I don't know, a better use of your time in the world we're living on now, especially sitting at our age.
No, absolutely. Claude is like just so powerful. I mean,
Yeah.
I've literally started building out an MVP, most valuable products, for a startup that I'm building right now. And it's literally just, I swear to you, I know absolutely nothing about code. Like I'm looking at this and I don't know what it means. I'm literally just vibe coding.
Yeah.
But I'm plugging it into Code VS and just having it run this, and it's flawless. It's so smooth. And now I can upload it to Chrome because it's an extension, and it'll automatically populate. Like, I feel like a genius. I actually do, but I haven't actually done anything.
Yeah, no, that's real. And then I kind of want to conclude this back. We talked about where AI is today, how this is a huge inflection point in kind of just history. Talked about how this is kind of affecting us. I kind of want to bring it back to how it's affecting really public markets. So like, we're living now in a time where last time we talked about AI, the markets were rising. We were talking about circular financing. Everybody was just giving money to each other. Yeah. But now we're kind of seeing the opposite. And in a way, investors are starting to ask themselves, where's all this money going? Are we getting return? So I kind of want to just food for thought. Where do we kind of see public markets being as really in the near term, as these agentic AI, or as AI just continues to evolve and more sectors may continue to get displaced?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you can see Nvidia, you can see, I think it was Salesforce as well. They beat earnings.
Yeah.
And their stock still fell.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
and
true.
so now that comes to the question.
I didn't wait video last week. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now it comes to the question where it's like, I think these companies, the big companies, are now being forced where they have to provide a lot of value while also telling investors and showing them on their balance sheets that they're able to mitigate the risk of exposure to a lot of capex investment or like capital investment to these AI data centers.
Yeah.
And it's no longer just about SaaS, this, agentic, this. It's more about, are you able to make a product or whatever that is quote unquote revolutionary while also making sure that if worst case scenario happens, you're not going to take.
You're still protected. Yeah. You know, it's crazy the level of greed investors have right now. Nvidia beat earnings. Like, I forgot the number of the revenue growth year over year, but they beat revenue and EPS, I believe. And fact check me if I'm wrong. But to your point, the stock still tanked. And it was like, I believe the reason for that is because investors are now getting skeptical that the large capex investing into AI build outs, data centers, all of that may continue to slow down.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if that's the case.
Justin Huang went on like a 7-minute tangent talking
Yeah,
about it.
right. And it's crazy. Jensen said he sees capex spending getting to $3 trillion by 2030. That's a very large number.
Wow.
And so I think it just kind of presents like it's a lot of unknown. It really is. We're not public investors at all. We're not a hedge fund. So it's not investing advice at all. It's more about our thoughts. So I think it would be very interesting to see how these things continue to play out in the market.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. And I think a lot of this is going to drive from investor sentiment and just like there are going to be some key people who are speaking out about these things that's going to drive very, very large fluctuations in the market.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think that, in my honest opinion, I think we're kind of like a hive mind right now where one person says something everybody follows and there's no independent thought that's been following recently.
Yeah.
And so I just hope that, we're making smart decisions.
That's true.
We're making decisions that are.
I think a prime epitome is the article, 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis. When that came out, it spooked markets. I was asking a couple people at firms, everyone referred to the same article. They're like, oh, you read that article? And I laughed them to them. I'm like, yeah, I read it. But is it true though? Like you have more insights than me. So no, I think it'll be very interesting to see. So yeah, I hope you all took some value out of this video. I mean, you got anything else?
Nah, that's about it.
Yeah. Well, check out the article if you haven't, 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis on Substack. We can put it in the link in the description as well. And then, just for context, that's a bear case. There's another article put out called 2028 Global Intelligence Boom, which was the bull case for that scenario. So very interesting stuff. But hope you all appreciate this video. Please like it if you enjoyed. Share it with somebody else if there was some information in it to inspire your show with another. And outside of that, we'll see you on the next one.
PCs.